Hey there. Needed to give you an update on what happened today. Ultimately, no one came. St. Luke's, as I mentioned yesterday in video, scheduled to come to my house, and they wanted to come into my house, and obviously I wasn't going to let that happen. If you want the details on that, go to the last live video in this channel. But I owe you a few updates because I realize that there's several things that have happened and I haven't really updated people on, and I just want to do that. I'm not very good at doing videos or updating people or asking for help and that kind of stuff, but I'm so grateful for the many people that have been so good to my family. So first, I wanted to update you on the football banquet. The Emmett High School football team has had a great season this year. They are going into the playoffs, and we think they'll do well there. So they've had a great season. They've developed and done really well. And if you remember, at the beginning of the season, there was a banquet, fundraiser banquet. I was arrested there. This is a civil case, but somehow they were able to get contempt charges against me, and I was arrested there. And then, the problem is it messed up the fundraiser, and so I then asked people to donate. Well, there was just a little bit of details there that I want to tell you that we were successful. We raised $7,000 for them. We could have done a lot more, but the school district here was wanting to make sure that we didn't, raise tens of thousands of dollars, and they were concerned about that. And so we cut it off at $7,000. And that made it up, I guess enough that they were able to call that banquet a success. And although I was wanting to raise a lot more than that, I was hoping to raise, tens of thousands of dollars, but out of respect and out of the request of the coach and the school board and so forth, we just went with the 7,000. They accepted it, and it's been a good year. So thank you for those who contributed to that. And if you want to watch the video on that, you could go to helptheboys.com, and there's a video there. It's also on this channel too. Well, actually, I have to say this because that $7,000 was only the money that was collected through credit card. Those who sent checks, which I'm sure was, a significant amount, we didn't keep track of. So it was over $7,000. I just don't know how much over. So that's one update. Two is one of the videos that I did just recently, a few weeks ago. I told you I was getting ready to paint this 67 Chevy Nova, and I've done that, but I haven't had a chance to work on it since. I just painted it, and then with everything that's been going on, and the harvest, the apple harvest, which has been very, very busy season, I have not been able to do much more than just paint it, but I thought I'd at least show it to you and give you an update because it's a beautiful car. It was a beautiful color. And it's just a deep, deep white, beautiful car. I'll show you here. I hope you could see kind of the depth of the paint and just how pretty this thing's going to be when it's all put together. Of course, the motor, I'm going to hide that because it's pretty, and I built that up, and I'm not ready to show that yet because I got work to do on it. And anyway, this is coming along. It's very hard, and I have to give a thanks to my customer because he's been very patient with me. I think he likes the work I'm doing because it's been really good work, even though I have to say it myself. I'm not the only one that says that, but the end product is going to be phenomenal. And but I just, it's pretty hard to do this kind of work and to make any type of living when you got the dogs after you all the time. And that's not just a problem that I've had. This is a world history problem. where people have tried to work in the fields while raiders and plunderers come and try to take what doesn't belong to them. And so they've had to be in the fields and hold both the plow and the sword. And but we've been so blessed in this country because we have had moral people that have wanted to enforce and protect, but we're losing that now. And now there is very little protection for, someone like me has stuck my head out, and it's going to, and is happening more and more to everybody. And if you think what's happening to me is an exception, then you're fooling yourself, because even though there's people like me and President Trump and Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson and, other people, Jordan Peterson, those people are, they're the tip of the spear. But if you don't think that it's coming to you, it will. I mean, they've already said, so they're after my home, and I'm going to give you an update on that. But they're after my home, they're after my property, they're after everything. But did they not say that their goal is to make sure that nobody owns anything and they're happy? I mean, that's their goal, is to destroy private property. That's the number one goal of communism. It's written in the Communist Manifesto. And so it's no secret that they're trying to take everything, all my private property and my home and everything else. Now, with that said, as you know, Attorney Bob Foucher sent me an email saying that he personally was going to come and inspect my home. They have no rights to it. They haven't won, any of the proceedings trying to, take my home. They haven't lost them either. They're just in the middle of them. But he wants to come and inspect and go through my house. I told him absolutely not. And this afternoon I got another email that they were going to come instead of, this week, that they were going to come on November 17th. Now, the interesting thing about November 17th, and I'm surprised that, that this, anyway, I think he understands, he knows, but I'm going to be in trial facing contempt charges from St. Luke's, which is who he works for, right? I'm going to be in trial on that day. And possibly facing the possibility of going to jail for 6 months for speaking out against St. Luke's. And that's what this case has become. I spoke the truth about what they did to that little baby and how they wrongfully took that baby. And they have used the courts to try to justify their actions. And I'm talking about St. Luke's, CPS, Department of Health and Welfare, of course, Meridian Police Department, all of that. Now, I had an interesting experience last weekend. On Saturday, we were processing apples, and we invited a whole bunch of people to come, and we probably had 30, 40 people, several families come, and we processed all day. And in total to date, we've processed almost 2,000 bottles of apple products, apple pie filling, apple cider, apple sauce, and others, and over several hundred gallons of apple cider. Now, one of the families that came had 2 children that they had, some medical, what do I call it, disabilities, challenges, whatever. And I got talking to one of them, and he was really a neat guy, but I got talking to him, and he was helping me, and he stuttered quite a bit, but you could tell he was really intelligent. And he was helping me, and he wanted to help, and he was really good help. And he was asking me what else to do, and he was very active in that. And then he had a little brother that also had some of the same medical things, I guess, that was going on. I don't know the details. I didn't ask. But he was very little. And I got talking to him, and I could tell he was quite intelligent. And he looked to me about like he was 4 years old, and the other guy looked to me like he was probably about 11 years old, probably 10, 11 years old. When I got talking to them, I could tell that they were a lot more intelligent and mentally developed than their age looked, and the size. And so I asked him, I go, how old are you? And the older one says, I'm 17 years old. Well, he would be a very small, I would say it would be a small 11-year-old. And then I asked the other young man how old he was, which he looked like he was about 4, really, really small. And he says, I'm 8. And intellectually, they certainly, you know, when you talk to them, they certainly seemed that they were of that age. And so the reason I bring this up is because if you remember, the doctors and the police and everything, and all those that took baby Cyrus, tried to justify taking baby Cyrus by his size, by how much he weighed. And I've showed you videos of his appearance. He's happy, he's attentive, he's not, he doesn't look like he's lethargic. There's none of that going on in these videos right before they took him. But they weigh him and they say he's too light. He doesn't weigh enough. Well, imagine these individuals. I mean, they're half their weight at least, probably less than half their weight. But yet their parents are taking care of them, loving them, feeding them. In fact, one of the time the youngest one asked his dad if he could eat something, and his dad said no. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. But later, his dad explained to him that he doesn't have the capability to know when his stomach is full, so he'll just keep eating and then he'll throw up. And so he has to monitor how much he eats and make sure he doesn't eat too much. So his parents care and love for him, but according to the standard of St. Luke's, Dr. Natasha Erickson, Detective Hansen, Detective Fuller, Dr. Rachel Thomas, although she's really couldn't add her to that because she just lied. But these individuals who were part of the decision-making and taking baby Cyrus did it all off of his weight. And so imagine this standard. The state would take these awesome young men who do have medical issues, but the parents have been working through that, trying to do the best they can with them. And imagine the state could just take them at any time because they don't fit in the BMI, the body mass index, just like they took baby Cyrus. And I completely disagree with that. You know, the standard, if the state is going to be involved, is that there has to be extreme neglect and extreme abuse. You do not take babies from loving and caring parents. And that's what happened in baby Cyrus's case. And nothing else matters, really. Nothing else matters. St. Luke's doctors declared Cyrus to be what they call failure to thrive because he was below the BMI, the body mass index chart. That's what they did. And then the police got involved, and then they made this plan to take the baby and give him to foster parents so he could go home to foster parents that night. So they didn't do it because he was medically in danger. They couldn't. Why would they? If he was medically in danger, why would they send him home with foster parents that night? I mean, think about that. And then I'm going to wrap up because I don't want to be too long. It seems like I'm always too long on the videos. And then in the trial where they decided the damages, the $52 million against Diego, who's the grandfather, and against me, $52 million in damages. Well, Eric Stidham, who's the lead attorney for St. Luke's, he's a dirty, rotten liar. And I have no problem saying that because he is. He's just a liar. They actually proffered to the jury that Diego and I, and especially me, it was a white supremacist, who actually called for killing the St. Luke's plaintiffs because I called for killing the St. Luke's plaintiffs because they went against the white race. This is what they proffered to the jury, and the judge let them. And I'm going to do a video on this, and I think I might have said this before, but it's just astonishing because, as I said before, you know, I have many, many friends. In fact, the Amazon driver came yesterday. He's a black man, and we stopped, we talked, we shook hands. He shared his faith with me. I was so grateful. He lifted me up. He said, you know what? I think you're going to make it. You're going to make it through this. God's going to show you. And he cared about me. And I was so grateful for that. I didn't care if he was black or not. Diego is of Hispanic descent, his mother and his father. Cyrus is of Hispanic descent, and he's of mixed race. Well, guess what? If you're a white supremacist, you don't like those people. And I love all those people. I love everybody. I don't care what your color of your skin is. I don't care. And but yet they proffer to the jury that I'm a white nationalist who wants to kill the St. Luke's plaintiffs because they're traitors against the white race. And that's the disgusting things that went on in the trial. And Judge Baskin, you know, she did a few things that I'm grateful for, you know, a few things, but she should have never, ever allowed that stuff to go in front of the jury. What does that have to do with defamation in any way? And she knows there's a full list of things, a complete list of things that were proffered in front of the jury that never should have been discussed, that were completely contrary to anything that I was being accused of again, or they were just there to determine damages. The damages, which how they could ever say we damaged St. Luke's is beyond me, but other than telling the truth. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I just mainly wanted to give you an update on the football banquet, and the car, and also what's happening with them trying to basically force entry into my home. Attorneys with no court order, you know, no warrant, no nothing. These are attorneys that are saying that they have the power to come into my home, basically to harass and to terrorize my family, snooping around my house. I'm not going to let that happen. And then, of course, just an overall update. So I just want to thank you for your love and concern, and let you know that right now I'm scheduled to go to court November 13th through the 18th, I believe it is, 17th maybe. And then, of course, November 17th is the day that they're saying they're going to come back and force their way into my home. Attorneys with no court order, no warrant, no nothing. And so just wanted to give you an update how crazy this is. Thank you.